Number 21. The first thing to do is to recognize that you need the slope formula. So what is the slope formula? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. M equals, of course. And once you write down the formula, then you could go and label your coordinates. So let's label our coordinates. We have an x value and a y value, an x value and a y value. This is our first point, so you put a 1 beside the x and the y. This is our second point, so we put a 2 besides the x and the y. And now we know what to plug in. Now let's keep in mind that the slope formula gives us slope, but right here they give us the answer to slope. So -4 is technically m. You could put it right there. And it doesn't matter if you put it on this side or equals to -4 on this side, whatever you want. I want to plug in the -4 right here where the m is at. So again, I'm taking this -4 and I'm going to plug it right into m. So that's going to be a -4 equals, now the fraction is going to have minus fraction bar. y2 is -3, y1 is 9, x2 is r, and x1 is 5. So here's our equation, and this is what we need to actually solve. Okay, so is there anything that we could simplify? The answer is yes. The numerator, -3 minus 9, is what? What's -3 minus 9, guys? -12. So let's rewrite this. -4 equals the fraction, but we have a -12 up on top and an r minus 5 on the bottom. Now at this point we can, let me focus in on this equation right here. We can cross multiply if we wanted to. I could put the 4 over 1 and then say, I want to multiply -4 times the binomial r minus 5 and then 1 times -12, which I recommend. Or you could get rid of the fraction by multiplying the fraction by what? R minus 5. So you can multiply this by r minus 5 and this by r minus 5. It's up to you guys. What do you guys want? Cross multiply or get rid of the fraction? It's kind of like the same thing actually. So let's get rid of the fraction if you'd like. So how are we going to get rid of this fraction? We're going to multiply by the exact denominator, which is a binomial r minus 5. So I want to multiply by r minus 5. That way it'll cancel out. But what I do to one side, I do to the other side. I need to multiply over here by r minus 5. Now remember, this is a -4 over here times r minus 5. So what I need to do is take -4 and distribute it. -4 times r is -4r. -4 times -5 is positive 20. And of course we have the equal sign that comes down, and we also have a -12 that's left over on the right side after canceling out the fraction. So we still need to get r by itself. I need to get rid of what? Positive 20. So let's subtract 20. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. Subtracting 20. We're going to have a new equation that says -4r equals -32. My final step will be to do what? To get rid of that -4. Divide by -4. Divide by -4. Final answer is r equals 8. It's a lot of work, but if you know what you're doing, you should be able to get that correct answer. R equals 8. The only thing we found was the x value of the second coordinate. If there were an 8 right here, and you drew a line that goes through the coordinate 5, 9, and 8, -3, that line would be pretty steep going down from left to right because the slope of that line would be -4. Jumping to number 25. Once again, let's write down our slope formula. And then after that, let's label our coordinates. And now we could take everything that we have here, the 7, the r, the 4, the 6, and the 0 for m, and plug it all into the slope formula. Okay, now m, we already know the answer is 0. So let's plug in 0 for m. And 0 equals a fraction with some subtraction. And let's plug in our x and y values in blue. So instead of y2, what am I going to write right here? 6. Okay, so we have a 6 right there. And instead of y1, r. Instead of x2, 4. And instead of x1, 7. So this is our equation that we need to solve. Of course, if you could simplify anything, go for it. I could do 4 take away 7. Let me rewrite my new equation. 0 equals 6 minus r over negative 3. Are you with me? So that's a pretty simple equation to solve. You have a fraction, let's get rid of the fraction. After all, you want to get r by itself. You want to get rid of everything except the r, so you could have r equals a number. So let's get rid of this division of negative 3 by doing the opposite. The opposite of dividing by negative 3 is multiplying by negative 3. That'll cancel it out. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. 0 times negative 3 is still 0. 0 equals 6 minus r. Let's continue solving. Let's get rid of that 6 by subtracting 6. Subtracting 6. You're going to have negative 6 equals negative r. Now you don't want a negative r, you want a positive r. So you could multiply everything by negative 1, or you could divide everything by negative 1. Either way, all the signs are going to change. So my final answer is 6 equals r, or better said, r equals 6. Okay, so let's check out 23. Once again, we're going to write down our slope formula. There's the slope formula. After you write down your slope formula, you're going to label your coordinates. So you have x1, y1, x2, y2. And then after that, it's just a question of plugging everything in. For example, the y2, which is 1, is going to go right here. The y1 is going to go right there. The x2, 7, is going to go right here. And the x1, which is r, is going to go over here. So we're just going to plug it all in. And the 3/4 that's slope is going to go right over here. So we're going to plug it all in. And instead of m, we're going to have 3/4 equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's y2? 1. y1 is 4. x2? 7. x1? r. So I have this equation I need to work with. Now, I could do 1 minus 4 up on top. 1 minus 4 is what?
3.
Negative 3. So let me rewrite this whole thing. 3/4 equals negative 3 over 7 minus r. Now, at this point, we truly do have a proportion, a fraction equaling another fraction. Why not cross multiply? I mean, there's many ways of doing this. You could get rid of the fractions by multiplying each side by the denominator of the fraction you want to get rid of. But since you do have one fraction equaling another fraction, you might as well say 3 times the binomial 7 minus r equals 4 times negative 3. So let me write that out. 3 times 7 minus r equals 4 times negative 3. Cross multiply. Sas. So 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times negative r is negative 3r. And then 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an equation here, a pretty simple one at that. We're just going to solve for r. Let's first get rid of the 21 by subtracting 21 and subtracting 21. You're going to have negative 3r equaling negative 33. Final step. Divide by negative 3. And of course, r equals positive 11. Positive 11.